The call came in just after dawn. A teenage girl's body was found near the edge of the interstate, half buried under frost and gravel. Her name was Emily Harper, 16 years old, last seen leaving a late-night study session at a friend's house. The small Pennsylvania town of Dover had seen its share of bad nights, but nothing like this. When FBI agent Violet Darger arrived at the scene, the world was wrapped in a sheet of gray low clouds, frozen air, and the quiet hum of diesel trucks on the highway. The girl's body was positioned oddly, her hair carefully brushed to one side, her hands folded over her chest. There was no blood at the site, no tire marks, no sign of a struggle. Whoever left her there had done it with eerie precision. Local police were already arguing when Violet stepped out of her car. Sheriff Daniels, red-eyed and shaking from too much coffee, slammed his notebook closed. "She wasn't killed here," he muttered. "She was placed." Violet crouched near the girl's body, studying the details. Others missed the faint smear of pink lipstick, a silver chain broken at the clasp, a small X drawn in marker behind her ear. "That mark," she said quietly. "Has anyone seen it before?" The sheriff looked at her like she'd just pulled the air out of his lungs. "We have," he said, 2 months ago. Same mark, same pose, but that case went cold." Violet stood, the wind slicing through her coat. "Not anymore," she said. By noon, the investigation took over the whole town. FBI trucks parked near the diner, reporters swarmed the sidewalks, and the locals whispered about the highway doll maker. That's what they were calling him now, a killer who arranged his victims like broken porcelain, each with that small, deliberate X. Violet studied both case files. 2 girls, different counties, but everything else identical. No DNA, no fingerprints, just the same ritual. She pinned the photos to the wall in the motel room headquarters, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Her partner, Agent Loshak, watched her work. "You think he's local?" She shook her head. "No, he's passing through. Someone who knows how to disappear." Loshak pointed at the map. "He dumps them near exits, rest stops, ramps, gas stations. Someone who spends his life on the road. A trucker, but then came a break. A local security camera caught a grainy image from 2 nights before. A semi-truck parked by an abandoned service station. The driver, tall, wearing a reflective vest, was helping a young girl with her backpack into the cab. The timestamp was 11:46 p.m. Emily Harper had gone missing at 11:50 p.m. The next morning, the FBI traced the truck's plates, but they didn't exist. The numbers were faked, the company name painted over. Still, something gnawed at Violet. In the footage, there was a reflection, a decal on the truck's passenger door. It wasn't a company logo. It was an emblem, a simple, hand-drawn X. She leaned back, cold creeping into her chest. "He's taunting us," she whispered. "He knows we're watching." Before Loshak could respond, another alert came through. A 3rd body. Same signature, 40 miles east. They packed up in silence. The snow was falling harder when they reached the site. Reporters had been kept away this time, the road cordoned off by local police. But when Violet walked closer, she froze. The victim was laid out just like the others, except this time, something new. In her right hand, she held a crumpled piece of paper. Violet put on gloves, unfolded it carefully. The writing was rushed, smeared, and faintly marked with truck grease. 1 sentence. "Stop looking for me, Violet." The color drained from her face. No one outside the bureau knew her name, and that's when she realized, this wasn't random. T was personal. Snow blanketed the small Pennsylvania town like a shroud. Violet Darger stood in the motel parking lot, staring at the note inside its evidence bag. The handwriting was uneven, frantic, but the words felt deliberate. "Stop looking for me, Violet." It was taunting, yes, but worse, it was intimate. Loshak leaned against their SUV, coffee steaming in his hand. "You ever tell anyone outside the bureau where you'd be assigned?" Violet shook her head. "Not even my mother." "Then how the hell does he know your name?" The question hung in the air. Inside the motel's makeshift office, the investigation board was a web of photos and red string. 3 girls, each with the same X behind the ear. Each posed the same way. The map now stretched from Ohio to Maryland. Whoever this was, he moved fast. But this last victim's note meant something else entirely. He wasn't just traveling, he was watching. Violet flipped through the victim's belongings, a cracked phone, a hair tie, a half-written diary entry. The final line read, "He said his name was Daniel, said he knew someone in the FBI." Her pulse spiked. Daniel? The name hit her like a stone. She hadn't heard it in 5 years, not since her first case. Daniel Kane. A suspect she had chased across 3 states before he vanished into thin air. Charming, intelligent, and psychopathic. He'd left behind a trail of bodies and a promise. "One day we'll meet again." She whispered, "It's him." Loshak frowned. "Kane? He's supposed to be dead." They never found a body. Before they could argue, the motel lights flickered. Power outage. Then, the low hum of a vehicle outside. Violet peeked through the blinds. A dark semi-truck idled across the street, exhaust spilling white clouds into the cold. She grabbed her weapon, heart pounding. But when they rushed out, the truck was gone, only tire marks cutting through the snow. The next day, a lead surfaced from the FBI's cyber division. The same X emblem had appeared on a dark web form 3 days before Emily's death. An encrypted post read, "The Dole. Elmaker sleeps where she dreams. She'll understand soon." She'll understand soon? It wasn't about the victims anymore. It was about Violet. Tracing the IP led to an abandoned rest stop 30 miles south. Old service bays, flickering fluorescent lights, graffiti marking every wall. It was the perfect place to hide. They entered at night, flashlights cutting through dust and silence. Each room was empty, except one. On the far wall hung photographs, pinned in neat rows. Not of victims, but of Violet herself, walking to her car, drinking coffee, sitting on her porch, months' worth of surveillance. In the center of the wall, a photo of her as a rookie agent. Her first case. Below it, written in black marker, "Dead-end girl." Loshak muttered, "He's building this around you." Violet stepped back, bile rising in her throat. He never stopped. Then she noticed something else, a small recording device blinking red beneath the shelf. She pressed play. A distorted male voice filled the room. "Hello, Violet. You took everything from me. Now I'll take everything from you. The next girl dies when you sleep." Static. Silence. Violet turned to Loshak. "He's watching us in real time." Outside, the snow had stopped, but the night felt heavier, like the air itself was waiting. End of chapter 2. 3 days later, the killer struck again. Another teenage girl, another interstate, but this time, he left her alive. Barely breathing, frostbitten, and with the same X behind her ear. At the hospital, Violet sat beside the trembling girl. "Can you tell me his name?" she asked softly. The girl's lips quivered. "He said he knew you." The words landed like a blade. She pressed gently. "Did he say where he was taking you?" The girl shook her head weakly. "He said you'd find him, where it ended the first time." Violet froze. Where it ended the first time. That was 5 years ago, in Ohio, where she and Kane had faced off inside an unfinished housing development. She'd shot him there, or thought she had, but no body was ever found. By nightfall, Violet and Loshak were on the road again. Snow turned to sleet, the windshield a blur of motion. The coordinates matched perfectly. That same construction site, long since abandoned. They entered quietly, guns drawn. The building was skeletal, concrete bones jutting from frozen earth. The only sound was the echo of dripping water. "Loshak. Back corner," Violet whispered. They moved in. A light flickered inside one of the unfinished rooms, a single bulb hanging over a wooden chair. On it sat a laptop, screen glowing. Violet stepped closer. A yell